Pam Bondi, a seasoned attorney with a reputation for fearlessness, walked into the grand courtroom, her briefcase clutched firmly in her hand. The air was thick with tension, the kind that often precedes high-profile cases. Spectators filled the gallery, reporters lined the back rows, and the opposing counsel sat stiffly at their table. At the bench was Judge Caldwell, a man notorious for his sharp tongue, unyielding demeanor, and rumored bias against certain attorneys. Today, Pam was in his courtroom, and it was clear from the start that this wasn't going to be an ordinary hearing. As the case commenced, Pam spoke with her usual composure, laying out her arguments with clarity and conviction. The case was complex, involving allegations of corporate fraud and a trail of evidence that pointed toward a powerful business magnate, a figure rumored to have close ties with Judge Caldwell. Pam knew she was walking a thin line, but she also knew the law was on her side. Within minutes, however, it became evident that the judge was not going to make this easy for her. "Ms. Bondi," Judge Caldwell interrupted sharply, barely letting her finish her sentence, "I suggest you stop wasting this court's time with irrelevant details." Pam paused, steadying herself. "Your Honor, these details are crucial to establishing a pattern of fraud." The judge cut her off again, a smirk playing at the corner of his mouth. "Crucial, or just another attempt to grandstand in my courtroom?" A murmur rippled through the gallery. Pam's jaw tightened, but she didn't react. She had faced adversity before, this was just another test of her resolve. As she continued presenting her evidence, Judge Caldwell's interruptions became more frequent and condescending. He rolled his eyes at her points, sighed audibly during her statements, and at one point, even laughed quietly after dismissing one of her key arguments. The tipping point came when Pam calmly pointed out a suspicious financial transaction linked directly to the defendant, one that seemingly implicated not just the accused, but others with influence. Judge Caldwell leaned forward, his voice low and mocking. "Ms. Bondi, perhaps you should spend less time playing detective and more time understanding how the law actually works." The room went silent. The insult hung in the air like a thick cloud. Pam didn't flinch. She took a slow breath, straightened her papers, and looked directly at the judge, not with defiance, but with quiet confidence. "With all due respect, Your Honor," she said softly but firmly, "the law applies to everyone, including those sitting on the bench." A collective gasp echoed through the courtroom. Judge Caldwell's face darkened, his knuckles turning white as he gripped the armrests of his chair. He opened his mouth to speak, but Pam calmly requested a brief recess. What happened next left everyone stunned. During the recess, Pam made a call, not to her legal team, but to the state's Judicial Oversight Board. She presented them with evidence she had quietly gathered over weeks, records that linked Judge Caldwell to the same corporate entity at the center of the case, secret meetings, and suspicious transactions that hinted at a conflict of interest. Minutes later, as everyone returned to the courtroom, a team of law enforcement officers entered, their presence sending shockwaves through the room. Judge Caldwell blinked in surprise. "What is the meaning of this?" he barked. One of the officers stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "Your Honor, we've received credible evidence of judicial misconduct. You are required to step down from this case immediately and accompany us for questioning." Stunned silence. The judge's face twisted with rage. "This is outrageous. Who authorized?" "Me," Pam said simply. "I authorized the investigation." For a moment, time seemed to freeze. The same judge who had mocked her, belittled her, and attempted to derail the case was now being escorted out of his own courtroom. As the officers led him away, Pam turned to the gallery and addressed the court with quiet authority. "Justice is not about power or influence. It's about accountability. And today, the law has spoken." The courtroom erupted, not in cheers, but in a stunned, respectful silence. Pam gathered her papers once more, her heart steady, knowing she had not only defended her client but also upheld the integrity of the very system she had sworn to serve.